Last night on MasterChef Australia.
You're going to lose someone good here if it's me.
A shock elimination.
I feel like now it's a witch hunt because I'm at the top of the tree.
Brent, you will not be Australia's first MasterChef.
Tonight, MasterClass.
That's liquid gold, yeah?
It's time for our amateurs to learn from the professionals.
You come here to learn, and that's exactly what you get.
As Gary and George show how it's done by the best in the business.
Delicious.
MasterClass is the pinnacle of the whole week. You come here to learn, and that's exactly what you get.
We get to see two very, very successful, talented cooks show us how to cook. It's the best day of the week.
So welcome to our second MasterClass. Yeah. It's your opportunity in the week. The pressure's off. You get to watch us do a bit of cooking. You get to learn something new, we hope. And it's a recap as well of things that you've done in the past week. Somebody missing?
My vote is for you, Brent.
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 That's a big surprise. I'm really surprised, actually, that Brent's gone. As a cook, he actually stepped up to the plate and did a really good job. So what happened?
I certainly think that Brent wasn't the worst cook, and he was just very unlucky. Sometimes you get dealt bad cards, and he was very unlucky.
Interesting. Really interesting. All right, so you're here to become a chef, correct? Yeah? Yeah. I'm excited, because I am one, and you want to become one. So that's a beautiful thing, yeah? So let's go back to the start of the week. We had a mystery box challenge. Yeah, really exciting start to the week. A mystery box full of ingredients. You had a half an hour to cook a dish. Yeah, a dish to surprise us, and some of you definitely did.
So a reminder of what it was. I'm sure you remember. I hope you remember. So we had tomatoes, we had bacon, eggs, bread, and a couple of pantry items that really were just salt, pepper, vinegar, just to help you along. Out of the three winners of that challenge, Trevor, Poe, and Chris, we picked those dishes because of your creativity.
You could market those cheesy French toasts, I reckon. And in this dish, it comes together. And whether you're a truckie or whether you're a foodie, you're going to really enjoy eating that. So well done, Trevor.
It's an egg in hell.
Certainly, you got the soft texture right. What would you have cooked?
Well, for me, the standout were the tomatoes. I mean, these are, you know, beautiful vine-ripened tomatoes, great time of the year for them. So I would have done it like a little gazpacho or even like a little tomato tea.
Okay, so clear.
A clear
tea.
Essence
of
An essence,
tomato.
yeah, which I absolutely love because it's quite, you look at it and you're thinking it's water, but then you pop it into your mouth and it's like mind-blowing.
The first thing that struck me was a little salad. I would have done like little matchstick croutons and blanched the tomatoes, deseeded them, taken the skin off, cut those into little battens and formed like a little nest. Poached the egg in cling film, which Julia did.
Attempted.
So you've got a poached egg in there, and you've basically formed up the cling film.
Yep.
Did you oil the cling film or anything like that?
That's what I didn't do.
Oh, I've given the game away, haven't I?
There you go.
So I think we should make that.
Yeah.
And
let's do that.
I think yours might go well with mine.
Okay, so we'll
merge. So if you make your tea, and I'll make my little salad,
Done.
and we'll see
I'll make
how
the tea.
we play the game together.
So guys, tomato tea, consomme, there's lots of different names. Do we all know where the aroma comes from a tomato? Anyone? That's right. So the stalks are really important, and I'll explain to you how we're going to get the aroma of the stalk into the tea, okay? All right, we'll just leave that under there, okay? So, quartered tomatoes, remove the core, because that's quite bitter. A little bit of red onion. A little slither of garlic goes in there. A good heap of basil and some salt. A splash of Worcestershire, just add another dimension to it. A couple of drops of Tabasco sauce for a bit of kick. And we blend it. Once we blend it, we use muslin cloth, yeah? Just something that's going to strain away any of those impurities. So with our little green stalk here, we just rip that up so it starts releasing that flavour, yeah? When the tea goes into the actual bowl. And then you'll see that, look at that. That's liquid gold, yeah? That is just beautiful stuff there. That's got full flavour of tomato, okay? All right, so we'll leave that aside and we'll end up with a beautiful clear tomato tea. Right. Little bacon crumble, if you want to call it that. Just add a bit of texture to the dish.
Yep.
And we're actually going to put the bacon crumble over the egg so it adds a texture to the egg, yeah? Another definition, as well as salt and really smoky, beautiful flavour. So we've just shredded up the bacon and then we're finely dicing it, okay? Right, good splash of olive oil in there. Gary can give that a shake for me. That'd be great. We're nearly there. Thyme whole, so we can pull them out. Lemon zest, because I think bacon and lemon is just really delicious. Garlic, just to lift out some flavour. And literally at this point, we give it a shake, so it releases all that flavour in there. Herbs are lovely right at the end, yeah? Rather than at the start where you cook it out and all that aroma goes into the air and we lose it out of the food, okay? All right, and that just goes on the greaseproof paper. And Gary,
You're done, aren't you?
I'm done on this side, so I've got the tomato tea, the bacon crumble ready. Off to you.
In the challenge, the dish that I would have chosen to do would have been a little poached egg salad. I would have done like little matchstick croutons and blanched the tomatoes, deseeded them, taken the skin off, cut those into little battens and formed like a little nest. Poached the egg in cling film with the croutons. So, you know, in terms of how I would do the croutons, slice the bread, take the crusts off, and then cut little battens from it. And using an appropriate amount of oil to get those croutons really browning nicely and evenly. Put the thyme in, which flavours the oil. So you're looking for a good colour and to cook them really, really quickly and as evenly as possible. A little pinch of salt.
The heat that you had under them must be pretty important because they were very quick in and out.
Yeah, in and out.
So is that
That's
like
just the way, look, I've been taught, that's how I've been taught, you know. You can make croutons in the oven, but you're going to end up with quite a dry, crusty crouton, whereas those still have got a bit of chew in them. So what I'm going to do is, with the tomato, just replicate the crouton. A little pinch of salt, touch of oil, and we've got these little croutons now. All right, and that's sort of the foundation of my little salad. Now, Julia, you're going to come up and I'll show you how to do the eggs. So remember, Julia, when you were doing the egg and bacon challenge, Julia was struggling, poaching her egg in cling film. Now, where did you get the idea of poaching in cling film? Can you remember?
No, I read it somewhere ages ago.
That's like reading how to fly a helicopter, jumping in and thinking you can do it.
Yeah.
It doesn't work. So, touch of oil. You just want to spread that over the cling film. And then you want to drop this cling film into the thing. This is what I saw you struggling with. Put the egg in. And then what you want to do is you want to draw up the cling film and then try and expel the air, all right? So you want to get it so it's like that, all right? And then what you want to do is you want to twist it once you've expelled the air. You want to twist it down to get the shape that you want. And then once you've got the shape, now you've got to tie it, right? And once you get it, so you've fed it through, you've got to push that knot down. Is you're trying to get it so it's like that.
Yep.
All right? Does that look like the one you did?
Not exactly.
Not exactly, but not far off. You were nearly there. If I could have got you just to take that, you know you were felt under pressure because you're running out of time. If I could have get you to spend that little extra minute or two, you would have achieved that, all right? So that's going to plump into water. It's just on a simmer. It needs to be in there for 4.5, 5 minutes. Julia, thank you very much. Go and sit down. Hope you learned something. I might construct my, my salad. Remember, I've got my battens of tomatoes and I've got my little croutons. Now, you've just got to be really gentle with this.
It's a bit of bacon over the top of the egg. Give it a bit of texture.
And then I'm just going to drop a few of these little shoots over the top. This is celery leaf, so it's young celery leaf, OK?
OK, so I've got my tomato tea, and I gently just pour that in and basically just flood the bottom of the bowl. That's all we need. And those croutons at the bottom will soak up that lovely tea flavour.
And just a couple of little dribbles of the olive oil. And I reckon, along with the little croutons, because we've got our dipping philosophy, and the tomato tea, that even though that's really 2 dishes put together, I reckon that's smashing. Poe, Trevor and Chris, if you want to come up and have a little dig around, have a taste.
We'll give you a bit more bacon.
Oh, yeah, nice. Thank you.
See, that's eggs in heaven, yeah? All right, guys, so in summary, it's a beautiful poached egg done in cling film. The tomatoes, you know, really key, important with the tomato tea especially, get the best tomatoes you can get. Allow it to steep, poached egg, 4 to 5 minutes. And creativity, yeah? You know, as Gary said, the way you cut something adds a different dimension to flavour, texture, so forth, yeah?
So the next one, a little bit of a revisit on our last challenge, which was a rabbit and 10 ingredients from the pantry, if you can remember. We were pleasantly surprised by some and really disappointed by others, weren't we? There were some bad dishes in there, but out of that, there were some good dishes too.
Delightful dish.
I think a 5-year-old could cook better than that. You've got some good basic flavours in there.
I mean, rabbit, let's be quite honest, in terms of breaking the beast down, it is difficult, yeah? All right, it's not simple, so hence why Gary's going to demonstrate that today. So, and think about how it's made up. It's made of balls and joints, it's made of sinews. That's what divides each cut of meat, all right? And then think about, well, how does the beast actually work? Well, it runs with its front legs, so what's going to be the toughest? The front legs. That centre bit there is the laziest bit of meat. It doesn't do any work. You know what I mean? So that's going to be tender. So a tender cut of meat generally means it doesn't need as much cooking time. okay, where the back legs, which are really delicious, need to be braised or, you know, need to be boned out, stuffed and roasted in an oven with lots of garlic and thyme and all those beautiful flavours.
So we've got some lovely, lovely little bunnies that we're going to show you how to butcher properly. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to divide off the front runners. What you're following is a natural line of sinew and connectivity here. I'm going to take off the legs. And it's going to leave me with this sort of central saddle and rib cage, which I'm going to divide off. So I'm going to remove the kidney. All right, and the liver. Now again, on your rib cage, think of your own rib cage. There's no bone that connects it together. It's not fused. It's connective tissue. And like a surgeon, I'm going to divide the rib cage. Now a rib cage and a loin. Remove that little bit of spine because I don't need it. And then I'm going to hand this over to George pretty much straight away because I want him to crack on and make a rolled loin that Andre attempted to do. So I've got 2 loins of rabbit and the 2 little fillets, and these are bavettes, or the belly in French, okay, which we're going to use. And that's going to go to George.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
So just to recap, Gary, if I could borrow you, if you could just turn around.
Oh, no, sorry.
That's where the loins belong, and the fillets belong on the inside of Gary, yeah? Okay? Directly in front of the loins, okay? The dish basically that myself and Gary are putting together for you today, similar to the little tasting plate you put together, Julie, just a tad more refined. So you're getting every part of the rabbit on a plate except for the legs. Right. We're going to roll the loin. One person that is in my mind that did roll loins was you, Andre, yeah? Sort of. Come up, because I'm going to show you how to roll these loins. Yeah, you had left a lot of that connective tissue on there that Gary removed.
It looked nothing like that.
Yeah. So what happens if the connective tissue's still on there? As soon as it hits heat, it will curl up. Yep. Because that's what happens.
That's exactly what happened.
Okay. Prosciutto goes down, or pancetta, should I say, goes down. Then we've got our little fillet here, our eye fillet, if you want to be a little bit more commercial, goes down. And then we look at it, we go the opposite way, yeah? So the tail end, and then we pop the fatter end of the eye fillet to that side, okay? Okay, so a little bit of olive oil on the foil. A stick of rosemary.
Even with the flowers, that's cool?
Yeah.
Yep.
Beautiful.
Flowers, beautiful.
Yep.
I want you to roll that up, and I want you to feel it, okay? Now remember, it's important that it's tight.
The tension comes from here.
Yep.
And then twist it like a bonbon, yeah?
Yep.
Like a Christmas bonbon. Okay, tension's important, a good amount of tension, because that will support it when you cook it, okay?
The reality of the challenge, I mean, I went in there looking for something like pancetta or whatever. If you didn't have that, could you still do something similar, just using the same technique?
In terms of other things to wrap, there was cavolo nero in there was leeks in there that you could open up, blanch in water, scrape and then roll up the rabbit loin.
King browns.
King brown mushrooms, slice. Now, we've got a pan here with rock salt in it. We pop our rabbit on top. That will actually conduct the heat. It won't be as harsh on the bottom. So if I put that straight into the frying pan without the salt, it's going to burn on the bottom, yeah? So we want the heat to be conducted evenly throughout it, okay? And salt holds heat. So that goes in at about 180 degrees, yeah? For about 16 minutes. That will come out. We'll let it rest for about 4 minutes, and it will be delicious.
All right, thanks, mate.
Good stuff.
Good job. Well done, mate.
Good stuff, Aaron.
We soak some white beans for an hour. They don't need to be soaked overnight. In fact, beans really don't need to be soaked unless they're a kidney bean, because they've got a toxin in. But most pulses really don't have to be soaked at all. And you'll find with white beans and cannelli beans that if you soak them for too long, the skins come off, they wrinkle, they come off. When you cook them, they look really bad. But I've just basically covered them with water, brought them up to the boil, strained them, and then popped the chicken stock on and cooked them until they were tender, right? How do we know they were tender? Oh, yes, they're tender. We eat them, which is another little chef's trick. Right. So the borlotti beans are going to connect back into the dish. So if you remember, we're doing a roast loin of rabbit with pancetta with white bean puree and white beans, OK?
OK, so the first thing that needs to go in is the belly, because that's the bit that takes the longest to cook, yeah? While that's getting nice and crisp, we take our rabbit out, OK? Twist like a bonbon. So then we want to get nice caramelisation. So that goes into the pan. Our rack goes in, because they only take literally, 45 seconds to cook. Then our kidneys go in and our livers go in, yeah? Some butter love in there, OK?
Oh, George, even that was generous for you.
It's very generous for me. We're not going to eat all that butter. We're just coating it, giving it flavour and helping everything cook really deliciously.
How can you tell, how is the kidney supposed to feel when it's done correctly?
If you think about how small they are, they're going to cook almost instantly, So it's difficult. You've got to cook them and find out, but they should still feel quite pliable. And once they're bouncy, boing, then they're overcooked. Just while George is doing that, I wanted to make a vinaigrette, and you had a couple of things in the pantry. One of it was this chestnut honey, all right? So teaspoon of honey, teaspoon of mustard, squeeze of lemon juice. And we just whisk that, and then we're going to whisk 2 oils into it. One is olive oil, and one is hazelnut oil. Because essentially that's how easy it is, all right? And we're just going to use that on the rabbit and the beans, OK?
Right, so rosemary and thyme goes in, just to give it a little bit more pop. There's nothing better coming to this point, is it? Where you're just about to carve it.
Get all excited.
You get so excited. I want this cut into 3. OK, so our 3 little bits of rabbit go down, our saddle. Our kidneys, we just cut in half, and they're nice and pink inside, yeah? Our little rack sitting at one end. We've got a kidney goes on. A little bit of belly. Look at all these textures.
And these are lavender flowers. So remember, this was lemon hazelnut vinaigrette. Are you happy with that, George?
I am absolutely thrilled. I'll put a little bit of sea salt on that liver there. And can I tell you, I'd pay a lot of money for that in a restaurant. It's absolutely delicious.
Tom, you did a lovely rabbit dish. Jenny and Trevor, you did well in your invention challenge, so I think you guys should have a taste.
Fantastic. And the bean puree is great. This is amazing.
Texture, flavour, and just this explosion of the flavour from the dressing.
Really good. Vinaigrette gives it the pop, smooth, tender, crunchy.
Lovely. Trev, hope you're inspired.
Right, guys, a couple of tips for you about this beautiful little rabbit dish. OK, so make sure when we break down a cut of meat or a whole beast, don't rush into it and hack it up. You saw that technique of rolling it into prosciutto, then into foil. Make sure it's nice and tight. Make sure you've got a rock salt frying pan, and you can do that in the oven. And think about all the other cuts that we use. We use the kidney, the liver, the rack, the belly, OK? And they all needed to be cooked at different points according to less they needed to be cooked, all right? A simple vinaigrette, you saw that. We didn't need to make stocks and sauces and boil bones. Something simple like that vinaigrette. It's absolutely delicious, and it just lifts the dish right up, OK? So you had the invention challenge at the start of the week. The theme was Italian, OK? That beautiful country with so many delicious flavours, cultures. I think now we're going to move on to something that apparently they stole from the Chinese. Marco Polo, I think it was. But we're not going to get to... We're not going to go back to history because they do it so well, and that's pasta.
Oh, you were the only one who made pasta. You cooked a sort of a rough pasta with shiitake mushrooms. A little bit overcooked, but it's nice. You've done a good job. So you must have been thinking of Marco Polo in the Far East.
I was kind of.
What was going on there? Shiitake mushrooms, Italian theme. You sure shiitakes are from Italy?
No, that was my invention bit.
I'm going to do a fairly classic pasta dish. I'm going to make a tortellini with George, and a very simple sauce using raisins and shallots and pine nuts. This is quite typical of a regional dish. So first of all, I'm just going to get this sauce going. I've got shallots. All I'm going to do is just slice a few of these. I don't have to do all of them. I've got them, but I just want to show you that, you know, and it's as simple as this. You know, on an onion or a shallot, you've got the end where the root is, so where it's in the ground, and obviously the stalk will come out of the ground like that. Try not to use the root, okay? And just nice and fine. I'm just going to cook those slowly. Pinch of salt, George, if I could. You could add a little bit of garlic to this as well. You could add some thyme leaves, you know, something just to sort of move it all along and develop the flavours, all right? But the key here is slow caramelisation, right? Start slow, cook the shallots a little bit blonde, all right? And then increase the heat as the sugars are starting to release from the onions, okay? Who hasn't made pasta? You've never made pasta? Tom, get up here. Let's go. We'll make pasta. Rule of thumb, Tom. 100 grams of flour will take 1 egg, splash of olive oil. I've got 250 grams of flour. I want 2 eggs and 1 yolk. Yeah, excellent. Little splash of olive oil. Put a splash of olive oil in. Where? Yeah, go on. Obviously, my splash is very different to yours.
So glug.
Yeah, there you go. No, that's a splash, mate. You need to redefine your splashes. And what you want is you're looking for a fine crumb. Tip that out onto the bench. Just before Tom starts to knead that, the moister you make that dough at this stage, right, the easier it is to handle. If it's too moist, it gets difficult to handle through this machine. If you were to rest the dough, so we're going to pretty much use it straight away, if you're going to rest the dough, what will happen is everything's going to settle and the moisture's going to react with the flour, the oil's going to react with the flour, and what will start off as quite a crumbly, tight dough will often turn into quite a soft dough when it's rested for an hour or so. So when you knead, you use the heel of your hand, you push it away and down, and what you're looking for is a really nice, soft, smooth, pliable dough. How are we going? Let's have a look. That's great. Thank you, Tom. Perfect. Right, so we're going to put this to bed just to have a little rest while George makes the filling for the pasta.
So, ricotta, make sure it's nice and dry, guys. Yeah, it needs to be dry, as in pliable. I've got a little bit of egg here. Just, you know, there's about half an egg gone in there. Some zest of lemon. When I get that aroma, I can just smell that releasing. It's just absolutely gorgeous. Okay. Lemon, thyme, we know those flavours work. We don't want the stalk because that's really difficult to eat. Okay, a bit of sea salt. We'll just give that a good stir. And we just give that a taste. Never with the same finger. Use another one. Justine?
Yes.
You want to come up and taste? So stick your finger on them. So you're looking for thyme, lemon, salt, smooth ricotta.
It's beautiful.
Yeah? Can you get that? What are you
Beautiful.
tasting?
Lemon, zest, thyme. It's light too, fluffy.
Yeah, good stuff. All right, filling's done, Gary.
Right, we just need to roll the pasta. Are you rolling or am I rolling? I'll roll.
We might get someone else out to help. Poe?
Just roll that thin enough so that it will go through the pasta machine. So this is what you did, essentially.
Yep.
And you didn't do a bad job, let me tell you. What you did do a bad job of was just your combination of flavours, OK?
Yep.
We've got this set on the largest setting, which on here is 1. So what you want to do is you want to put it through on 1 a couple of times. Now, basically, you can use this machine to go through as many times as you can Much easier than rolling it by hand, isn't it?
Yes. I knew that I only had to do a few, so that's probably why.
George is going to put a little wet cloth over, and you can actually bring out what you need and keep the cloth.
Yep, yep.
Because pasta, what does it do?
Dry out.
Dries out.
It's all in the detail. Right.
We need to cut some circles here. We've got to work really quickly because the pasta dough does dry out, and if it dries out, it's not pliable to make tortellini. So do you want to do a couple more?
What is the maximum time you can make the tortellini before you cook them?
Look, there's nothing saying what we made, what you make in the morning, if they're on a plate or a tray that's been dusted with flour in your fridge, not glad wrapped, okay? The next day they're fine.
Oh, even the next day.
For me, by the next day I'll use it. I don't really want to use it after that, yeah? All right. Okay, put it to bed. Pop our filling into a piping bag, just so makes life easy and we're not so messy. Some mix goes into the piping bag. So we pop some of the filling down. All right. We brush the outside, the top half, a little bit of egg wash. And we don't want too much egg in there or it's going to slip. Gently bring that together. And removing every bit of air, yeah? Because if we've got air in there, it's going to explode. Okay, then pop it down. Pop our thumb just in there. We turn it into these little caps. Yeah, like little sailor's caps. A little bit of egg there. And there we go. Got our little tortellini. Okay?
Okay, off you go, Poe.
Okay, well, not too much. That's plenty, that's plenty, that's plenty.
So put it on that, yeah.
Yep. Now, sit that next to, like little friends, you know? Just sitting next to each other. Well done, Poe. High five. Well done.
Thanks.
When we boil pasta, we make sure that the water tastes like the sea, yeah? Salty, okay? We take our little tortellini, make sure we remove any excess flour, and we gently place that in the water. All right, that should take about 3 minutes.
You don't need to put olive oil in the water. It's an old wives' tale. I've just caramelised the onions and then add the balsamic vinegar. And we're just going to reduce those around the onions until they darken. And then we've got some currants, which I've blown or soaked and rehydrate, as in a sense, right? This sauce, this is finished doing its thing. We just put a few pine nuts in. And that's ready to go.
We need to pull these out.
We need to go.
Basically, they're all floating, so they're pretty much ready.
And the nice thing about that sauce is obviously you've got those nice caramelised shallots, so it's sweet. The balsamic vinegar is sweet again. The raisins, lovely and sweet. So when you put them in your mouth, they burst, and you've got that lovely flavour. And then you've got that sort of creamy texture of the pine nuts in there as well, along with the creamy texture of the filling. We've got some nice pecorino, which is a good alternative to a good Reggiano Parmesan, and we're just going to grate that all over the top. Generously. Come on, Miss Pasta and shiitake mushrooms.
I'm not going to live that down. Beautiful.
Delicious.
Poe, no more shiitake mushrooms and pasta.
Sorry.
Thank you very much. Hope you've learned something.
I have. Thank you very much.
Please.
So the pasta, guys, so we made our tortellinis with a ricotta filling, lemon, zest, thyme, a little bit of egg to bind, some salt. Hopefully you're taking some tips, some skills, yeah, and incorporating them into your challenges going forward.
So, this is the final lesson of today's masterclass. It's a short one. It's an easy dessert. Nothing better than berries and cream, unless, of course, you add meringue into it. That makes it really, really good. So what we're going to make is an eaten mess. And the reason we're doing this is because it relates to our off-site challenge from the blue team. And you did a
Aussie mess
for Curtis Stone. A brave move. Tell us what an Aussie mess is.
Well, it's based on the traditional English one, which is obviously berries and cream. So I did passion fruit and bananas, and I did it with a mango coulis instead of a raspberry coulis.
Yeah. Were you pleased with it?
Yeah,
Did it work out well?
Yeah, it did. The flavours came together.
What was his criticism? Can you remember what Curtis's criticism was?
Yeah, the meringues were store-bought, but with a barbecue, there was only so much we could do for the dessert, I think, and with time constraints, so...
How, would you do it differently?
Oh, well, if I had the option to have my oven, I would definitely have made my own meringues.
You could have actually cooked your meringue under a barbecue.
It was something none of us had done before, so I don't think we wanted to take a risk.
Well, you all seem to be quite willing to take risks. I mean, you know, Aaron will cook a sparrow's wing with balsamic, so, you know, look, it doesn't take very long. You know, if you'd done your meringue first, you could have whipped it up, you could have piped it, you know, thinly, or spread it thinly, and you could put it on a very low barbecue, which essentially with a lid is like an oven.
Yeah.
If you think about heat, and this is really important as a chef, if you understand heat, then you can figure a solution. Okay, so we're doing Eton mess. Do you know where it comes from?
Yeah.
I'm English, you see, so I know. What is it?
It's the old Eton College thing where they used to take all the berries, the cream and the meringue, stick it in the bowl and mash it together at dessert time.
And the story goes that they took out a dessert on a picnic and a dog sat on it. And so it became Eton mess and it became a classic. Now, whether that's true or not, it's actually a really nice combination of flavours. Crushed up meringues, cream and berries, just basically folded into a flurry.
I think what makes, you know, a simple dessert like this is the produce, yeah? So, strawberries need to taste delicious. The coulis needs to be made fresh. And, you know, dessert doesn't mean sugar, OK? Dessert means natural sugars.
So, meringue, which is basically 1.5 or 2 times the sugar to egg white in terms of weight, right? So a little bit of sugar to start off with, just to get it going. So 1/3 in first, normally, and then followed by 2/3. A couple of minutes to be done. OK, look at that. Stiff peaks. That's what you want, right? That'll take about 4 minutes, I suppose. What was that, 4 minutes or so?
I've seen meringue and pavlova recipes that have a little tiny bit of corn flour, a little tiny bit of vinegar. How come yours doesn't need that?
Don't need to.
Don't need it?
No.
What does it do?
It just stabilises it. Meringue recipes often have a vinegar or an acid in there, which helps strengthen the protein strands, the albumin in the egg white. That's something you often see. Do you need it? No, I don't put corn flour in my meringues. And depending on how you bake these, you could bake these at 80 degrees overnight, 80 to 90 degrees, and they'll dry out. And you can make these any shape you want, but basically what I'd do is just make little sort of pavlova-type meringues. So 120 for, say, 40 minutes to an hour. All right? And you end up with something that looks similar to that, OK? A little bit gooey in the middle, which is what I like, and crisp on the outside, OK? A little bit different from what you bought, OK? So, we've used mascarpone and cream, a little bit of vanilla. All right, and that's going to go in the cream. A few lovely fresh raspberries. And also, just the difference between a good strawberry and a bad strawberry. I mean, one's like eating an apple, and the other one is just, you know, really sensuous and worth, you know, worth the effort. And some coulis. And this was raspberries and sugar. It's not cooked. It's just blended together. You don't need to cook it. OK, so we're just going to break the meringue up. And then all I do, rather than trying to moosh the whole lot together, is I just try and create a little bit of a swirl, all right, rather than, like, you know, mushing the whole thing up.
Do you want me to pop a bit of coulis on the plate?
That'd be great. Look at that. That's just sensational. OK, Kate. Come on, try. Try the meringue and tell me if it tastes shop bought. And your mum makes this, does she?
Yum.
Yum.
So an Eton mess, all right? The classic English Eton mess is meringue, berries, can be strawberries or raspberries or any bush berry, you know, blackberries, and cream. So, does anybody else want to taste?
Oh, yeah.
Okay. Let's grab a plate and we'll all go and eat together, yeah? Julie's on food. Here's to another week. Here's for many more to come.
Cheers. Cheers, guys.
Next time on MasterChef Australia.
This competition is getting serious now.
Will the mystery box be a sweet surprise?
No! I could actually win this.
And the demands of the invention challenge.
A wise choice in the pantry could be the difference between whether you stay or go home.
See some rise to the test.
It's delicious. Well done.
If you want to stay here, you've got to do more than that.
While for others, it's heartbreak.
I'll tell you straight, I think it's crap.